Diamonds, Matt and Sandee Tsuruda.
Hello, Worldwide Dream Builders. What a great FED. You guys are amazing, and Egos, again, congratulations. I know you guys are future leaders of Worldwide Double Egos. Amazing group of people down here moving forward, and always grateful for the leadership of Worldwide, all the platinums. Give your platinums a big hand. Serious. In every market in this business, platinums are so important. They're the future diamonds. And it is great to be here with all of you, especially if this is your first FED or first series of major functions, because I know at events like this, your life will be changed. Lives are changed. And for many of us here coming to these year after year, it's a game-changing function. And so that's our journey. This is our 28th FED that we're in attendance at. And just more excited than ever. And the gal standing next to me, we've been married for 25 years. So we've been free for that long. So that means we've pretty much had breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. That's pretty amazing as a husband and wife team building this business. And we love that. And sometimes people come into business and they say, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want that with my spouse. You know, and so don't worry, we felt like that for our first 20 years. Just kidding. But we'll help you fix that, okay, as a couple, as we move forward, because this business will create wealth for you. And we measure wealth not by money, we measure wealth by time. And it's an amazing accumulation of wealth. And the way that we gauge that for people is, if you were to stop working tomorrow and stop performing at your traditional business or your job, how long could you last economically and financially? How long could you last? And the average person, they say average American, they say it's 3 paychecks. 3 paychecks, right? So we create wealth in this business. And for all of us, it's the most precious commodity, because once you spend that time, it's gone. And we're proud of the fact that this is a business that will give you that time with amazing relationships, with a cause to fight for, and to have time with the people that you love. So congratulations on being here. What a great future you guys have. So I'm going to have Sandee start, and we love you guys. So here's Sandee Tsuruda.
Well, hello, Portland. Aloha. Happy Free Enterprise Weekend to all of you. We're so excited. It is so great to be here this weekend. But what I'm really excited about is tonight, to celebrate the family championships of Terry and Jen and Mandy. It's going to be spectacular. Because that's what we do here, right? We celebrate freedom. While most of the world out there celebrates Labor Day once a year, we celebrate freedom for the rest of your life. The rest of your life. 25 years. 25 years for me that I've been free. For Matt, it's been a little bit longer. And we went diamond shortly after that. And I'll tell you what, our life exploded in a good way. I mean, exploded. It was mind-blowing. We upgraded everything. Everything. Our automobiles, our home, our travel, our giving, and more importantly, the quality of our life. We bought back our time to invest in relationships, starting with ours. Because, Matt says 25 years of having breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. I tell you, the first 5 was terrible. He didn't say it was pleasant all 25 years, okay? Our marriage needed it. And I know some of you think, well, marriage should be like a walk in the park. Ours was a walk in the park. Jurassic Park. It's better now. It's a lot better. We were able to raise 4 children full time, And it's been great, and I pray that you get a vision to go diamond this weekend, if you don't already have it, because it will be one of the best things you do for yourself, for your future, and for your family's future. And it's not going to be easy. You're going to hear that all weekend. It's not going to be easy. It requires change, hard work, dedication, discipline, pressure. Kimberly Eaton talked so beautifully about that last night. It's going to require commitment. It's going to require inner will and outer strength. But it will be so worth it. So worth it. Matt and I were so captivated by our vision to go diamond that we weren't distracted by our circumstances. And I pray that you get a vision that strong that it burns inside your gut. And honey, I'm so grateful to you that you dug our well before we were thirsty. See, I believe there are two types of people in here. There are some of you that should dig your well before you're thirsty. Maybe you're young, you have no responsibilities, you have no bills, you're comfortable. The biggest decision you make is what you're going to wear this weekend to the club or whatever. You don't have to build this, not right now. But there will come a time when you will thirst. I promise you. Maybe it's when your income doesn't keep up with inflation. That happened for me. Maybe it's when you get married and start a family. Dig your well now before you're thirsty. The second type of person in this room is, your life is like a desert. Your finances have dried up. You have no time. You're so busy making a living, you have no life. Your marriage is junk. And this is the pump you have been praying for so desperately. When I was 8 years old, we went back to the Philippines for a little while. And I remember one of these trips we got to go on. It was on my grandfather's boat. Actually, it was a yacht, but when you're 8 years old, a yacht is a boat, same thing. And we went island hopping in the Philippines, and we went to this one small island called Bataan. And it was a small village there, and it was such a great experience. They did everything old school. I mean, it was like a village, like the kind you see in National Geographic videos, We went crabbing, and we caught prawns the size of dinner plates. It was awesome. Got to eat on banana leaves. I mean, it was very, very, very old-fashioned. Okay, it was quite the experience. But one thing that I remember vividly from that trip is the water pump that the villagers used to get their water from. And it was an old school type of pump. The metal ones with the lever that goes up and down. And so me and my sisters, some of our cousins, we were all there, and we were so excited because we'd never seen a water pump before. And so automatically we run to this water pump and we start pumping it, like crazy, just up and down, up and down, up and down. And this old Filipino villager says, not like that, not like that. I show you. And he takes this pump and he cranks it all the way up and brings it all the way down. He goes, like that, do like that. And so I remember taking that pump and cranking it all the way. I mean, it was difficult. It was rusted. It was difficult. And all the way down, all the way up and all the way down. I mean, many times before anything happened. All the way up, all the way down. And he said, keep going, keep going. And cranking it all the way up. And after a little while of going up and down, a little bit of water came out. And we were so excited. So excited. So we began to wash our hands and, wash off the sand. He goes, no. Water, go back on the pump. So we had to take what little water we got out of this pump and pour it back onto the pump. And you see that little bit of water lubricated the pump. And we kept doing that. A little bit of water come out. We'd lubricate the pump. A little bit of water. And it eventually became easier to pump that pump. And after a while, and it was tiring, of pumping that pump, water started gushing out, just gushing out nonstop. And see, that's like this business. You know, this asset that you're building, it takes patience. It takes hard work. It takes effort. It takes consistency. It takes coaching and mentorship. Not like that, not like that. Do like this. That's what it takes. But if you are willing to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes, the rewards, the blessings come gushing out. And when that happened to us, eventually, this became our cause. Wish, want, need, got our freedom. And now it's a cause to give people hope. Because that's what this business is to us. It's hope. It's building hope. HOPE is an acronym for helping other people escape. Helping other people escape. And we believe that everybody out there, doesn't matter how wealthy, doesn't matter how awesome they look, everybody out there has a hole in their heart that this business can fill. I really believe that. And it's certainly filled many holes in our hearts. And we're not perfect, not even close. We still need some work, but we certainly are blessed. And to whom much is given, much is required. So this thing that we do, this asset that we build, is much, much more than a business to us. It's a responsibility and a cause, and it's worth fighting for. So let's continue to fight this good fight, and we look forward to celebrating your family's championship win here at an FED stage. We love you so much. God bless. Here's Matt. Thanks,
Awesome, awesome. All right. Are you guys ready for tonight? Woo! Yeah. Especially if you're here for your first FED, I would tell you tonight is going to be one of the top experiences of your life. I'd say, even go on to further say that if this is your first FED, this will probably be one of the top 10 experiences of your life. And that is a huge statement. That's a huge statement to say, because you think about the top experiences for all of us as individuals, you know, it's a lot of things. Discovering our faith, you know, in our core values and who we are as people, our faith. And then if you're married, you get married, that's the top experience. And then, you know, if you have kids, we have 4 kids from 23 years old all the way still to 9 years old. And our 9 years old wasn't a surprise. He was a shock to us. But those are amazing experiences, and many experiences in our life, right? And all the things that every soul in this room here, you have your story. And so that's a huge statement. But why I would tell you that as Worldwide Dream Builders, as we go on through the years and see new diamonds break every year. But if this is your first time seeing that, why I would tell you that is because you're going to witness amazing couples, Ryan and Mandy Yamamoto and Terry and Jen Brown. And and they got a life championship, a family championship that they put together with blood, sweat, prayers, tears, giving it everything they got. Started with thousands of people getting launched in business, and then them working it through the 2016-2017 year. 2 couples achieved the diamond level in Worldwide Dream Builders. And you'll get to see that, and you'll experience with them their short time that they got, but very powerful stories of people just like you guys sitting in your seat, coming to their first function and then accomplishing an amazing feat. And so you're going to see that live. You're going to see that in person. Many of us grew up with the people in this business, so we know what's happening. But that's what you're going to witness. But the reason why I say it's going to be the biggest experience of your life is because You're going to see somebody up here, but the bottom line is you in your seat can be up here. You in your seat can walk the red carpet. You in your seat can go diamond in the next 5 years. And you in your seat, yes, you, no matter what your story is, if you're willing to pay the price and pay your dues and do what you gotta do and go to the maximum, you can do that too. And you can go diamond. And no question about that, because we know our story and we're nothing special. And from there, it's your story. And so that's a beautiful thing. Everybody can cheer for a lot of other great events of people, but tonight you'll be cheering for people that you can do the same thing. And so I know in a crowd like this, 11,000 strong, congratulations, Portland. Congratulations on a sellout that we couldn't even have guests come to this function because of you guys. And all of you guys are qualified and launched and earned a seat to be here. That's awesome. But I want to look at this crowd and I want to ask, how many of you guys are 30 and under? Stand up if you're 30 and under. Sandee's standing up. Keep standing. Wow. 30 and under. That's over half the crowd. All right. Okay. All right. Stretch out a little bit. Okay. Okay. Good job, guys. Look at that. A lot of egos. You're the future of this country. You're the future of America and Canada. And that is awesome. But I know how you're thinking, because we were there. I was 30 for 30 years myself. So I know how you guys are thinking. And I got into business back in 1989 as a single. I was 21 years old. I was in college. I was a senior at the University of Hawaii. I saw this business. I ran home to my parents and I said, I found it. Having a few classes left to graduate from college. I don't tell anybody they should do this, but this is my story. I remember quitting school, getting a day job, and trying to figure it out. And going through a big first year of just growth, not getting any success in this business, and not putting any teams together, but went through that growth. And so at 21, went through that, and then 37 months later, though, guys, because of this system, and because of mentorship, and because of this business, okay, and what we have here, 37 months later, we were diamonds qualified in this organization. The year was 1992. And people say, wow, that's fast growth. But I saw a 2 to 5 year plan. And it wasn't easy. And it dropped us to our knees many days. And we kept on going, but you know, it seemed so slow. The time went so slow as we built this business and went through the things that we had to do. And so a lot of people say that's really fast growth. And I know that sometimes fast growth in our own story held us back, and we had to catch up a lot, and we had to learn a lot of things in our journey and in our story. But it's the plan, guys. And I find when we take people to even just 30-day core runs, people have a hard time just being core for 30 days. I know what we did. 37 months is 1,125 days. And we were core every single day. And we were core every single day for 1,125 days to our diamond qualification. And because we were core like that, it just became our life. And the habits that we're doing just made us the people that we are. So it's a lifestyle after a while. It's not just trying to build this business. But that's why we went diamond. And when I take people through even just 30 days, you know, it's interesting how it works that a lot of people get sick during the first 30 days. Isn't that amazing? I think all the toxins are coming out of their body or something. So first 30 days, you know. People are getting sick. But then go on to 60-day, 90-day core runs. And people are challenged and wonder, how come the business doesn't work? And they haven't even been core for, 90 days. Guys, it does work. It's just a matter of putting in the work. And I believe all of you guys know that. And you know that in your heart. So the one topic I want to just finish our talk with is the word commitment. And commitment in this business is a must. And that's why we have A, B, C, and D, right? A, launch. B, get committed. C, build your team around you. We need leadership in this business and in your business. And D is start making the money. So B is get committed, get core. Do what you got to do. Develop yourself, understand this industry. And get committed. And some of us in this business are still trying to figure out ways that we can become financially independent, control the time and control the money in different ways. And I remember at 21 years old, I did everything wrong, made a lot of mistakes in this business. But I remember saying, this was my shot. And I see people looking at different ways that they can be financially independent instead of focusing on what they launched in. And I remember early on, my first year, even if I didn't have success in this business, I was growing inside. And at my job, because I was working in the restaurant while I was going to school, I remember it was a restaurant that were opening up other chains of restaurants. And they saw how I worked because I was applying it not only in this business, but I was applying success principles and the way that I was working at connecting with people, because I wasn't like that before. And I was doing that at my job, and they said, wow, they offered me a different position. And at that time, at 21 years old, that position was worth over $40,000. And that doesn't sound much, but for a 21-year-old that's broke, and today, in today's dollar, because the year was 1991, today's dollar, that's about $80,000. And I remember being so excited about that because I was growing personally, and people were recognizing that. Maybe I wasn't getting my first year success in this business, but on the outside, people were recognizing that. And so I remember getting that promotion, and I remember going to my mentor, and all he had to say was, you know what, that's probably going to stifle your growth in this business. And I remember just turning that down, and I wasn't a platinum yet. And it was today in dollars at 21 years old, that job would be $80,000. I'm not against promotions or anything like that, but if it affects your business, then why do it? And people are looking for other things versus what they got right in their palm of their hand. And so I challenge you, to be committed. And again, my message to you guys today is the word commitment. So I got some definitions that I took from the internet here. It says the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity, and an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action, a promise to do or give something, a promise to be loyal to someone or something. Okay, antonyms or words of commitment is betrayal, detachment, casual attire. In fact, in Hawaii, we have a lot of that. Casual attire, we broke, but we happy, Indifference, defection, disloyalty. And so we know that commitment, that's why it's a must in this business. And it definitely trumps passion. It definitely trumps motivation, because you come here and we see many people getting excited, getting motivated, right? And passionate about what they do, but those die. And so the question you're always asked is, where are you going to be 2 months from now? Where are you going to be a month from now? And that's why we have major function to major function to major function. That you gotta, it's like, when you blow up a balloon and you let the air out of the balloon right away, what happens? Right? But what if you go ahead and just go, let the balloon air go out slowly. Psst, psst, psst. You still got air in that balloon, right? And for us, going from major function to major function, being consistent and staying committed to what you said you were going to do after this weekend is what it's all about. Because if you just get excited and get motivated off of this weekend, then what good is that if you're not consistent with this business? Because this business is not built by that. So commitment, right? And so commitment will help you develop a mindset of a B quadrant business owner. Okay, a B quadrant business owner. And in this business, we talk about having a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And, you know, even as a diamond, for 25 years, we've qualified for diamond. So we know this well as we read the book that you guys are going to get on mindset on our book list. And I'm thinking, hey, even as a diamond, I can have a fixed mindset. Even as a worldwide dream builder, as a leader of our organization, I can have a fixed mindset. And what is that? You know, you got some talent, you're able to do what you need to do, but you're not willing to change. You're not willing to grow. You're embarrassed about getting out of your comfort zone. And a growth mindset, right, as a B quadrant business owner for all of us is going out there and how you do that is, in fact, the only way you get into a growth mindset is from your mistakes, from your failures, from all of that. That's the only way you get into the growth mindset. Not being embarrassed, or even after a while challenge of that, you're just going out there and you're doing the work, because no matter what you hear up here and no matter all the teachings that you get, 90% of your growth is going to come from you going out there and doing it. It's going out there and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And then you huddle with your coach and you get mentoring. But 90% of the work, learning it, getting coaching, but 90% of the work, those things are important, but it's actually going out there and doing it. So make your mistakes. That's what we all go through. Okay, put yourself out there and definitely get into that role. About 5 years ago, Sandee and I, we had some people in our organization that helped us, even in our downline, helped us to develop that growth mindset again. And they were coming on as leaders in our organization. It was like what you're going to see tonight, Amanda Yamamoto and that Yamamoto organization. And so everyone has a story, and wherever you're at, you know, in building this business, commitment to your business, staying committed, that will cause, I believe, that mindset, and we need to have a growth mindset. Here's another one. Commitment will not only help you discover your core values, but stick to it. Okay, and I remember coming to a function like this, and you know, my core values, or back then we would call it vertical alignment. Mine, as a 21-year-old kid, was number one was friends. My second priority was friends. My third was friends, fourth friends, and fifth friends. And I heard a man named Ron Pruitt on this stage talk about vertical alignment, and it was his. And we tell all of you, find your own. But I remember I was so lost. I listened to Ron and I said, that just makes sense to me. And I remember adopting his, you know, God and family and country and business. And I remember him standing on the stage and talking about every single one. And in this business, that's what commitment will do. You'll discover who you are. You'll discover your core values, what we talk about on this stage, you as a person. So you stand on solid ground. So you won't go through those emotional roller coasters when things on the outside are happening. And you'll go out there and stay steady in building your business. So commitment. Commitment will help you honor your partnership and stay with your mentor and stick to it. And from there, that's huge for all of us in this business. That's what we have as a worldwide nation and a family. So guys, my message to you guys is this year, stay committed, and we look forward to seeing you march down on that red carpet. Okay, we love you guys.
The success depicted may reflect income from sources other than Amway, such as earnings from the sale of training and educational materials or other businesses or investments. While the techniques and approaches suggested here may have worked for others, no one can guarantee they will work for you. We also want to emphasize that success is not achieved in this business without hard work. For existing IBOs only, not for use with prospects. Worldwide Group is an optional training and support system designed to help you build your independent business powered by Amway. Eagle and Double Eagle are worldwide Dream Builders recognitions and are not part of the Amway IBO compensation plan.